Well, hi there, folks. Welcome back to Mossy Roots Farm. And this video today is going to be about why farmers have the hardest job. And I don't mean most physically demanding, although I'm not saying farmers don't work. And I don't mean brain surgery hard. I mean, they have the hardest job because one small mistake can completely change their entire operation. And maybe it wasn't a mistake at the time, but maybe it turns out to be a mistake, or maybe what was a mistake turns out to be great. But farmers have the hardest job in the entire world. And here's why. One choice gets me from this to this. One choice. And let me tell you, I thought I was making the right choice, and I think I'm making the right choice here, but I don't know if I am. And I won't know for a long time, because it usually takes months before you find out what that mistake was and if you made a mistake. So for example, this section back here with this tree, that hardly grew anything. So all these sections are about the same size. This section had cows on it for 4 to 6 days. I forget when I did the sectioning and the splitting of these pastures. That section only had cows on it for 1 or 2, maybe. And that's because the grass didn't grow well back there. And the grass didn't grow well in the back there behind some of these trees. So that's one mistake I made, and I made that last fall. I didn't leave enough ground cover in the fall because my thought was, well, less ground cover means that less ground cover in the fall doesn't hurt anything because the plants are already dormant. They grow from the roots anyhow, grow new leaves, new stems, and it's not a big deal. However, here's where I was wrong. Those leaves that are dead and dying and laid over all winter, they still can gather sunlight. They still can gather energy. So they would grow better in the spring if I left the grass taller. I didn't do that over there. The mistake I made here, I bale grazed this. I put all of my bales for the entire winter in this entire section, and we had the worst winter in history. And I don't mean snow or rain or anything. I mean, there was 1 week for 6 to 8 months where we were below freezing. 1 week. So it was a sloppy mud hole the rest of the year. And now I got Datra growing, which is what I'm told these plants are. At least I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. I have that growing like crazy in here. Even though I seeded it. Even though I allowed the cows to stomp the seeds into the ground, worked it in, and I planted it at the right time in the spring, this is still what I get. So that's another mistake I made. Another mistake I'm making is having too many cows. Now, I don't think I have too many cows. I think I have too few cows. But when I look at my pastures, I think I have too many cows. Tomorrow, they're going to have to come into this if I don't do something. And I don't think that this is ready yet. I see a lot of seed heads, but that's all plantain, or what I would call plantain. I don't see seed heads from any of my actual plants that I want, like fescue, timothy, orchard, brome, anything like that. Now, I know some of those are not ideal plants for some of you, but anything's better than nothing for me. I do have some seed heads here. You know, I have some of these seed heads, but not nearly like what I would like to see. And now you may say, well, seed heads are bad. You want it in the vegetative state, you know? Some of these big-time grazers will tell you you have to keep it in the vegetative state because there's the most nutrients. They grow the fastest in that state, and it allows you to grow better quality forage and more forage if you keep it out of the seed head state. However, there's not the volume, and my cows will eat the stems. They will eat the seed heads. When I let them into the section they're in today, they went for the seed heads. I watched my bull specifically look for seed heads and stems. So this is what I mean. One small mistake, one small misstep can cost everything. I'm considering putting hay in this section. You know, I got the 2 feed rings. If I put hay down here, that's going to buy me at least a week and a half, 2 weeks, because while they're eating the round bales, they're going to be eating all of this grass in here. And yes, this is big for a sacrifice area. I'd love to fence it off, but because of how that all sits back there, it's kind of hard, and I'd need an alleyway. And I don't like the idea of an alleyway, but I might put one in someday. Sorry, I'm ranting and raving again. But that is that is my thought, is that do I put hay down here? Do I not put hay down here? You know, if I do put hay down here, what am I wasting? 2 round bales and going to get 2 weeks out of it? Well, in the wintertime, I only get 1 week out of 2 round bales with all my cows. I get about 6 days. So 6 days in the winter or 2 weeks in the summer. You know, it makes sense to do that. But some people would much rather sell their kidney than to feed hay in the summertime. And I don't understand that. I don't see why. You know, if you've got to feed hay, you've got to feed it whether it's 80 degrees or minus 80 degrees. These are the decisions I've been struggling with because it seems like I keep making mistakes. Now, I am learning from these mistakes. I am definitely understanding what I'm doing and growing and making things better. However, it's a long and hard process. You know, I am struggling with that for sure. Part of it's because I don't really have a good mentor. My grandfather passed away and he never did anything like this. He just let the cows go crazy on the whole property and left it alone, and that's what it was. So this is definitely a me issue, but I don't know. I just was feeling like talking a little bit about why farming's the hardest job in the world, because it seems like all you do is make mistakes and then you pray for rain or don't pray for rain depending on your situation. You know, and if it doesn't come, guess what? You don't get rain. You know, if it does rain, awesome. If it rains too much, well, you're almost in the same boat as not wanting or is not getting enough rain. You know, you're just as bad. So, I don't know. I just wanted to get back on here, chat with you guys a little bit, and let you know that farming's hard and I'm definitely struggling with it. So, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one.